Selene never expected her mate to reject her in front of the entire kingdom. Especially not like this. The bond had snapped into place the moment their eyes met. Every wolf in the royal hall felt it. The future Alpha Queen had finally been found. But instead of claiming her, King Kael stepped back. His face cold. His voice emotionless. And rejected her publicly. The entire court fell silent. Selene felt the bond tear through her chest like something alive being ripped apart. But the strangest part wasn't the rejection. It was the look on the king's face afterward. Because for one brief second, the most feared ruler in the north looked absolutely terrified. Then blood ran from his nose. The palace walls trembled. And somewhere beneath the kingdom, something ancient woke up. The great hall of Valderan had never been silent before. Not truly. Even during executions, there had always been noise somewhere. The rustle of silk. The scrape of armor. The low murmur of nobles pretending not to stare while blood spilled across polished marble. But tonight, silence ruled the room like a living thing. Because every wolf in the kingdom had just felt the mate bond snap into place. And their king had rejected it. Selene stood frozen beneath the silver ceremonial arch, her pulse roaring so violently she could barely hear the sacred drums anymore. The torches lining the hall flickered against walls carved with centuries of alpha bloodlines, their flames casting restless shadows over the watching court. Hundreds of eyes stared at her. At them. At the impossible thing that had just happened. The scent of winter cedar and storm rain wrapped around her lungs so suddenly it almost hurt. Thick. Overwhelming. Male. Ancient somehow. It filled her senses until she couldn't think around it. Mate. The word had slammed through her body the instant King Kael stepped onto the ceremonial platform. Not a thought. Not even a realization. An instinct. Primal and immediate. Every nerve inside her had recognized him before her mind could catch up. And judging by the slight flare of the king's nostrils, he had recognized her too. For one terrible, suspended second, the world had stopped. Selene could still feel it. The invisible thread locking into place between them. The sacred bond wolves waited entire lifetimes for. Gasps had spread through the court almost immediately. A future queen. An Omega mated to the Alpha King himself. The kingdom had been waiting years for this moment. But Kael had gone completely still. Not shocked. Not pleased. Still in the way predators became still before violence. His silver eyes locked onto hers with terrifying intensity. Emotion flickered there for only a fraction of a second. Not hatred. Something worse. Fear. Then his expression closed. Cold. Absolute. The king descended the steps toward her slowly, each footstep echoing through the hall like a death sentence. His black ceremonial coat shifted around his broad frame, silver chains glinting against his chest. Power rolled off him in suffocating waves, pressing against everyone in the room. Selene's wolf trembled inside her. Not from fear. From need. Every instinct she possessed screamed at her to move closer. To touch him. To breathe him in. It was unbearable. The High Elder smiled shakily from beside the throne platform, clearly attempting to recover from the shock first. Well, the old wolf said carefully, voice echoing across the chamber. It would seem the moon goddess has finally chosen. Nervous laughter rippled through the nobles. The king said nothing. His gaze never left Selene's face. The silence stretched too long. Something felt wrong. Terribly wrong. Selene swallowed hard, forcing herself to hold his stare even as her knees threatened to buckle beneath her gown. She had imagined meeting her mate before. Every wolf did. But never like this. Never under the weight of an entire kingdom watching. Never with the king looking at her like she was both salvation and catastrophe at once. The High Elder cleared his throat. "Your Majesty," he prompted gently. Do you accept the sacred? No. The word cut through the hall instantly. Sharp. Final. For a heartbeat, nobody moved. Nobody breathed. Selene blinked once, certain she had misheard him. But Kael's face remained carved from stone. I reject the bond, he said calmly. The words shattered her. Not emotionally at first. Physically. Pain tore through her chest so violently her breath caught. Her hand flew instinctively to the center of her ribs as the bond recoiled inside her like something wounded and alive. A broken sound escaped her throat before she could stop it. Whispers exploded across the court. What is he doing? Impossible. He cannot reject a true bond. The throne. Selene barely heard them. Because the king was still staring at her. And the terrifying part. The truly terrifying part. Was that he looked like he was suffering too. A vein pulsed violently in his neck. His jaw locked so hard it trembled. For the smallest fraction of a second, agony flashed across his face. Then blood slid from his nose. The nearest nobles recoiled. Kael wiped it away immediately. But Selene saw it. So did everyone else. The room shifted uneasily. The High Elder stepped forward, visibly alarmed now. Your Majesty, rejecting a fated bond carries consequences. I am aware. Cold. Controlled. But his voice sounded strained somehow. Like every word cost him something. Selene's vision blurred. Humiliation crashed over her in suffocating waves. Hundreds of nobles were staring. Watching. Judging. Pitying her. An Omega rejected by her mate. Rejected by the king himself. The shame of it crawled beneath her skin like poison. She needed to leave. Now. Before she broke apart in front of all of them. Selene turned blindly toward the massive doors of the hall, forcing her legs to move even as the fractured mate bond burned through her chest. Her breathing came too fast. Too shallow. The whispers followed her instantly. Why would he reject her? She's beautiful. Did you see his face? Something's wrong. The massive doors groaned open. Selene stepped into the corridor. And the palace lights flickered violently. Every torch in the hall extinguished at once. Darkness swallowed the kingdom. Gasps erupted behind her. Then the floor beneath the palace trembled. Not hard. Just enough. A low vibration rolled through the stone like something enormous shifting deep underground. The wolves in the hall froze instantly. Somewhere beneath the kingdom. Something ancient had just awakened. And in the darkness behind her. The king let out a sound that almost resembled pain. The kingdom began dying 3 days later. At first, the changes were subtle enough for people to dismiss. A failed harvest in the western fields. Milk spoiling overnight. Animals growing skittish beneath full moons. But then the storms came. Black clouds gathered over Valderan without warning, hanging above the kingdom for days at a time. Crops rotted where they stood. Rivers flooded villages that had survived untouched for centuries. And the wolves. The wolves started losing control. Reports flooded the capital daily. Border patrols attacked each other without reason. Children shifted accidentally during emotional outbursts. Entire packs became violently aggressive overnight. Nobody understood why. Or perhaps nobody wanted to say it aloud. Inside the royal palace, the atmosphere turned poisonous. Servants walked silently through corridors. Guards avoided eye contact. And King Kael grew more dangerous with every passing day. Selene heard the stories long before she saw him again. A general executed for speaking out of turn. 3 advisors removed from court after a single meeting. A servant dismissed because a tray slipped from her hands near the throne. The king had always been feared. Now people feared being near him at all. But the strangest rumors were the ones whispered after midnight.